Ron.
Here.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Aaron is here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Backed by popular demand is one of Grant Cardone's most dedicated Scientology recruits, a gentleman who goes by the name Tampa Brad. I have been following Tampa Brad's videos for a couple years now. It's very rare to have an opportunity to see someone document their own path into Scientology, to regularly upload videos extolling the virtues of Scientology, telling anecdotes about how Scientology has improved his life. What's amazing to me about watching these anecdotes is the anecdotes leave you scratching your head like, huh? And it's funny because most times that Scientologists try to either explain Scientology or to explain what they got out of Scientology, it does kind of leave you scratching your head like, what? I don't quite get it. So Tampa Brad did just upload a new video, and he wants you guys to know how Scientology helped him go from being in an open relationship to being married with 2 kids, 1 kid, a second kid on the way. We're just going to watch the video. It's kind of incredible. Let me give Tampa Brad a little bit of a shout out. Tampa Brad, this is his YouTube channel. I think when I first came upon Tampa Brad, he probably had 200 or 300 subscribers. Thanks to you out there in the SP Nation. He's up to 1.4 thousand. I figure if I'm going to do videos off of him, might as well get him a few subscribers. Why not? Tampa Brad joined Scientology in the midst of the pandemic from watching Grant Cardone videos. This guy was a Grant Cardone fan who said, how can I be more like Grant Cardone? And then he heard Grant Cardone talk about Scientology, and Brad said, that sounds good to me. Now, we're going to start this video a couple minutes into it. He explains how when he got into Scientology, he was dating the girl who he's now married to. He calls it an open relationship. To me, that's a little confusing. If you're just dating someone and you're seeing other people, you're just not exclusive. It's not an open relationship. You're just seeing each other. You're just not exclusive. But he wants to explain how Scientology got him from dating a girl who he wasn't exclusive with to being now married and having 1.5 children. Let's just see what he's got to say, guys. Let's let Tampa Brad speak for himself. I'll try not to interrupt this video too often, but you guys know sometimes I just can't help it. Let's give this a shot.
You know, I walked into a Church of Scientology for the first time in February of 2021. Actually, I was just looking back, and because we turned over the new year a couple months ago, and I was looking back, and I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I think it was February 21st, I think is the actual day that I walked in. And, you know, started doing courses and then started doing auditing, and, you know, really haven't stopped since then because it's helped me so much. And one of the first things that changed is I started to change my mind about what a successful relationship looked like, because my idea, you might call it a mock-up, my idea of how a successful relationship looked was starting to seem impossible. And I thought that it was like open relationship had, relationships with multiple women was kind of like the end goal for me. And trying to pursue that was making me miserable. It was making my then girlfriend, now wife, miserable. And if you ask her, she probably in like 2021, actually, she told me that she's like, I didn't think we were going to make it. So that being what it is, that was the situation. And so I walked in and I started, like, the first thing that I noticed is I started to change my mind about what a desirable family looked like. And, it occurred to me that, well, I won't tell you my way, but basically I made a decision at one point that, you know, the way that it works here in, you know, the United States, in America, on Earth, like in this current time and culture, the way that it works right now is that a man gets married to a woman and they have kids. And that's how you so-called wear the hat of being a husband, of being a man of a family, right? And that actually is the agreed upon way in which we do it here. And, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, when I really recognized that, I was like, oh, that's the smoothest way to go about things. I can cry about it. I can bitch about it. I can be like, it's not fair. It's evolutionarily blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, all this other crap. Or, you know, I can just handle it and get on with my freaking life and actually start enjoying my life rather than, you know, trying to, you know, fiddle fuck around and make it into something where nobody's really happy. And it's kind of like going in circles. And that's what I felt like, because I felt like I was going in circles, and I felt like my life was getting worse every year. Like I would get a year older, like it'd be my birthday, and all of a sudden it would occur to me of like, wow, I'm 26. I thought I would be further along by the time I was 26, and I was 27. You know,
Guys, it sounds like, so it starts out like he had this great revelation that, you know, allowed him to, you know, have a deep, meaningful connection with a woman he wanted to have a relationship with, and not, you know, seek multiple partners. And you think it's going to be some deep, profound thing. And he's like, I basically came to terms with the fact that on this planet, in this era, what the agreement is that man marries woman, has kids, settles down, and I could bitch about it and complain about it, or I could just come to terms with it and get on with my life. It sounds like, this doesn't sound like some life improving, soul searching. He realized something he'd always been, you know, he found the thing in himself that he was always searching for. It was like, I basically had to come to terms with the fact that I had to settle down, and I could complain about it, or I could just sack up and be a man. Like, what does this have to do with Scientology? Okay, now one thing it might have to do with Scientology is, I'm sure at some point in his courses and his work with the ethics officer, he was handled on not being promiscuous, basically. It is true that Scientologists are very conservative in their view of relationships. That's true. Scientology really does meddle into the personal lives and romantic affairs of its members. And so it sounds like this is something that occurred like in an ethics handling. And it's weird because also, doesn't it sound like I skipped the intro where he was talking about the open relationship, but he's like, oh, it was terrible, it's horrible. But at the same time, it sounds like he's the one that wanted to not be exclusive with his girlfriend. It sounds like he's the one who thought that a real man, to really be satisfied, has to have a lot of multiple partners. But then, and I shouldn't have clipped it. I just didn't want you guys to have to watch the video for any longer than is necessary. I'm actually playing this video on 1 1/4 speed. Anyway, this is a little interesting, and we're going to keep going. The whole video is 14 minutes long. We're already 5 minutes into it. Let's see where this goes.
You know, and I'm about to turn 31, and I'm just now out of the, oh my God, I thought I'd be further. Like, I'm just now starting to.
Oh, by the way, I did star one comment that I saw. Is this the guy whose wife is on Just for Fans? Yeah, this is the guy who, while in Scientology, in the 3 years he's been in Scientology, it's not just his wife that's on Just for Fans. He and his wife would produce adult content together, if you know what I'm saying, to partially pay for all the money they've been given to Scientology. Like, I'm talking full on adult content. You guys know what I'm talking about. So they went from not being exclusive and just dating to being married and adult content creators on Just for Fans. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying that I have to somewhat assume that whatever ethics officer convinced him he shouldn't be trying to date multiple women at the same time, should we assume it was the same ethics officer who said you probably shouldn't be pawn stars on the internet? All right, let's keep going.
Feel like I'm at least, I mean, I don't feel like I'm anywhere close to where I should be, but I at least feel like I'm, you know, on the right road to getting there. Like, my business is actually growing at an acceptable rate to where I could really be super rich in this lifetime. And like,
I could be super rich in this lifetime, as opposed to all the future lifetimes.
Family is actually in a place where we're like, a family life has been amazing. So, and I want to tell you about that. So I had wanted to have kids for, I mean, basically forever. I mean, I've been married once before. My previous wife, she wasn't really sure that she wanted to have kids. And I was just like, dude, I gotta have kids. Like, I'm not going through this life without putting some little babies here and having some munchkins to run around with. Because I just like kids. Like, they're just fun to be around. And you know, my mom had a daycare when I was a kid. Like, and so I would be, I just have always hung around with little kids, and I've always thought they were super fun and funny. And so I wanted kids. And also I saw how proud my parents were of me whenever I would do something like that was noteworthy or worthy of pride.
By the way, his parents are absolutely horrified that he's joined Scientology and does videos about it.
And
I know that because I'm in touch with his friends.
Tell how emotionally impacted they were. And I wanted to feel that. I was like, man, I want somebody to have that effect on me. I want somebody to make me proud as a dad. So I wanted all that. But you look at me when I was 27, 28, back in 2020, 2021, I'd been with the same woman for 5 years and we hadn't had kids yet, even though we both really wanted kids. And, she comes from a family of she has 10 siblings. I have 3 siblings. And so,
guys, I just want to spoiler alert here. He at no point in this video explains why, when they both wanted kids, they never got pregnant. He never even comments on it. He doesn't explain if it was a fertility problem. He doesn't explain anything. This part of the video just doesn't make sense because, and then he's sort of implying that he always wanted kids, couldn't have kids. They both wanted kids. And then somehow Scientology fixed this, but he doesn't ever explain in the video what the hell Scientology has to do with the fact that he was then able to have kids with someone. I mean, obviously one of the two of them were incapable of getting pregnant, but he doesn't explain. It's clearly not him because his wife's now pregnant for the second time. But do you see what I'm saying? It's almost like what he should be saying is, I was in a relationship with a woman who couldn't get pregnant. And then I got with another woman and she got pregnant. What this has to do with Scientology, guys, anyone's guess.
And so, we come from decent sized families, but we didn't have kids, and we're getting up into 30 where it's like, hey, you start having kids when you're 30. It's kind of like actually a late start. So anyways, here we are, now I'm 30, she's 29, and we have a 1.5-year-old, and then we have another one that's on the way that's due in like September. And so we're actually like building our family the way that we want it. And, the way that Scientology really plays into this is when I started going in, I started seeing how my upsets in life, a lot of them stemmed from things that I did related to the family unit, like trying to get in relationships or trying to, like go and like screw around or like go to bars and clubs and stuff like that. A lot of those things are, like encounters with women or whatever. A lot of those things that I did that I didn't feel good about, that kept coming up as an issue of like, oh, when I actually sit down and look at it, that's what I'm upset about. And I started seeing, oh man, every time that I say, like one great example would be like pornography, right? Like every time I look at pornography, all of a sudden I get mad at my wife. Like, why is that? And then I started learning things like, you are actually, for me, I was actually just worried that she would find out that I was looking at pornography, and I'd get mad, and I'd be worried, and I'd start getting mad at her,
Like, the dude watches adult videos and then gets mad at his wife because he's worried that she would be mad if she found out. These two literally create adult videos and post them to the internet. This is just weird. It gets a little weirder, guys, here in a minute.
To try to like actually distance myself from her so that she wouldn't find out. And so, you have all these crazy complications going. And when for me, when I started figuring out the why and where these were coming from, all of a sudden it was very easy for me to decide, okay, that's it. No more pornography. Like, done. And that was like just a decision one day. No desire to go back. Like literally.
I feel bad for the guy. That's like no more ice cream, no more pasta, no more chocolate. Like, what's the point? But also, this is something that Scientology really enforces, which is weird. I have to be honest. L. Ron Hubbard never said a thing about this. Yeah, okay. There's one reference, I think it's called Pain and Sex, that that L. Ron Hubbard wrote, that Scientology ethics officers now use to just make it like everything to do with sex is like bad. But most Scientologists from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even early 90s will tell you Scientologists used to not give a shit about any of this stuff. But under the era of Miscavige, it's gotten super weird and creepy, and they're infatuated with the sex lives of their members. In the C organization, yeah, like even the solo 2D assist, how do I say it? Wanking it is something that if like you mention it in an auditing session or an ethics interview, you kind of get in trouble. And Scientology has started enforcing this weird morality on even its public members, not just the staff members, not just the Sea Org members. And so Brad's going to mention this in a minute here.
Really none. And then it was that same way, like literally, I'll be very transparent here. Same thing happened with jerking off. Like, same deal. And then, you know, it was like, and back of that, you know, even before that, it was the open relationship thing went out the window. And that was kind of ending even before we walked into the Church of Scientology.
This is like an advertisement for why not to join Scientology. So I used to date multiple people at the same time. I used to do whatever I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it. And now I don't even wank at you guys. I'm so much happier these days. Like I'm unbelievably happy. I don't watch any adult content, and I don't ever touch myself. And I am so much happier for it. Holy shit, this is crazy.
But it really reinforced it of like, you know, the things that I saw. Now, one thing that I want to be super clear on is nobody like from the church, like no auditor, nobody came in and said, hey, Brad, you need to cut this shit out. Like that's not the way that it works. The way that it works.
That is exactly how it works.
In my experience was, you know, I actually did some Scientology auditing, which is the thing where you hold the cans and, you know, they have the meter and the auditor asks you questions and you answer the questions. And the auditing is for you. It was for me to examine the things I was doing, thinking, and how I felt about those things. And for me to, if I wanted, change my own mind about those things, which is what wound up happening. I changed my own mind based on what I saw and based on what I didn't like and based on what I saw coming up again and again and again and again that I hated and that was upsetting me. And so I'm not the type of person who likes to do the same thing again and again and expect a different result. So I changed what I was doing, and all of a sudden, like magic, all of a sudden I get along with people better. And all of a sudden I get along with my wife better. And all of a sudden, oh shit, here I am. I have a baby. And now I've got another baby on my way. And it might seem like, and it's like, well, you just had sex and then you had a baby. Yeah, but we've been having sex for 5 years and haven't had a kid. It's like there was something that changed, boom, and just like, bam, like changed my mind. And then
something tells me that Brad was wanking it just like he eats his meals, alone and sad, standing in front of the kitchen sink.
There we go. So actually getting what I had wanted, but didn't feel like I could actually do for, you know, almost half a decade. So, you know, that's really been my experience with Scientology as it relates to my family and, you know, growing it in my relationships. And, you know, if you're, the other thing is there's some incredible courses. Like, even if you're like, you know, I don't, let's say Scientology doesn't really like appeal to you as far as like the auditing side, man, if nothing else, I would really encourage you to check out, they have these courses. There's one, there might even be two on marriage. Amazing. There's a couple on kids that are just like, holy cow, out of this world material. So simple, but we apply it with our daughter. And that is the happiest little kid in the world. Like, that goes down to bed exactly on time, sleeps through the night, doesn't.
Dude, thanks to Scientology, his daughter, his 1.5-year-old daughter goes to bed on time.
Create problems, doesn't trash the house. I mean, obviously she like gets toys out, moves toys around. It doesn't destroy things. She knows what's ours. She knows what's hers. Like, this kid is the easiest child in the world. And it's because we apply what it says to do in those courses. They're freaking magical. So anyways, I you know, if that's something that you're interested in and you're not sure like how to approach it or whatever, you can always DM me on Instagram, on TAMPA Brad on Instagram. And, you know, obviously I check my DMs and respond to people who have questions about stuff. So, you know, if you're interested in how Scientology can help you with your relationship, definitely hit me up, because I could go actually even more into detail, but I won't on a public video. But it was, let me just say this, the little taste of what I gave you on what my life was before, whatever you're imagining, it was more intense than what you're imagining. And then what it is now, it's better than what you're imagining as far as how beautiful of a family.
He's like, I was partying with P. Diddy every weekend, and yeah, like more intense. Yeah, I feel like P. Diddy was definitely involved.
I have now, and with my wife and my child and the one that we have on the way, and even my relationship with my parents is done. Anyways, I could go on and on, but bottom line, Scientology has done amazing things for me, for my family. And if you are struggling with something, look, they got answers there that no one else, like, it's funny because it's actually answers that you kind of probably already have a rough idea of, but they're just going to show you like, look, take a look at this. And then you'll come to your own conclusion and be like, dude, I knew it. I knew that that's the way it was. And they make you right. Like, that's the thing about Scientology, is it makes the things that you know, it makes you right for the things that you already know, that everyone else has told you, no,
What?
it can't be that way. Look, it is that way. You know, it's true. Scientology is the only place, only doctrine, only religion, and only any organization that I've ever seen that made me right for the things I always knew were true. Okay. So if that's interesting to you, send me a DM on Instagram or just go to Scientology.org and you can do like free courses. You can check out a church near you. It's the sickest thing on planet Earth right now. Like, there's nothing better on planet Earth than Scientology. Like, literally, not even X. Okay. And sorry if that's offensive to Elon, but look, Scientology is even better than the new X platform, which is pretty fun. So that said, please subscribe if you haven't already, if this got some value to you. If you wind up going in because of this video, please come on, you got to subscribe, because like, I changed your life. I'll take it.
If you wind up going into Scientology because of this video, you've got to subscribe, because come on, I changed your life. I'm going to play that again.
But look, Scientology is even better than the new X platform, which is pretty fun. So that said, please subscribe if you haven't already, if this got some value to you. If you wind up going in because of this video, please come on, you got to subscribe, because like, I changed your life. I'll take credit. Okay. So hope you're having a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Guys, I know people wonder if this is satire. This is 100% real. And when I first started covering these videos, I was like, there is no way Scientology is okay with him putting these videos up. And the more I watch these videos, Scientology is definitely aware that he does these videos, because they have asked him to take some of them down. He had one video that was, for example, called like, why Scientology isn't a cult, or is Scientology a cult? And in Scientology, that's called repeating an enemy line. So they had to go to him and be like, bro, you can't do a video about why Scientology isn't a cult, because that means you're basically repeating the enemy line that Scientology is a cult. So Scientology is aware of his videos. They have asked him to take down some of his videos, which kind of implies they're okay with the videos that are up. He said something at the end there that was a little interesting, that I've never heard someone mention. I've never heard someone talk about this aspect of the brainwashing that happens in Scientology. One of the things that L. Ron Hubbard said, he says many things, there's an elitism. L. Ron Hubbard instills an elitism in Scientologists at all levels. And Scientologists at all levels think they are much more elite and pure and virtuous than the Scientologists underneath them. But one of the things that he said that would make all Scientologists feel elite is that first of all, you had to be elite to recognize the truth of Scientology in the first place. But he said something like this: when you read something in Scientology and you recognize the truth of it, you're actually only recognizing the fact that you already knew it to be true. All right. So he's sort of saying, it's not true because I said it to you. You're not just going, oh, you're explaining something to me the first time. He goes, you already knew all of this already. And it's just what you're hearing, the words that you're reading and the words that you're hearing in Scientology, all it's doing is reminding you of the truths you already knew. So I had not thought of or remembered this specific version or way of instilling this elitist element in Scientologists. It's very clever. It's extremely clever, and it's very workable. And that's kind of what he was at. That's actually what he was trying to explain there. He was just doing a Grant Cardone falls into the same trap of trying to explain a Scientology concept, but the Scientology concept itself is so weird that it's hard, especially when you're trying to explain it to a non-Scientologist, and you're trying to pretend that what you're explaining isn't directly from Scientology. So for example, he was just trying to be like, Scientology is the only religion that will actually make you validated for what you already knew. He was trying to sort of cover up for the fact that he was just trying to repeat something directly from L. Ron Hubbard. But L. Ron Hubbard was saying it in a way that was only meant to really make sense to a Scientologist, but he's trying to explain it to a non-Scientologist, and it doesn't work. Grant Cardone tried to do this with Jordan Belfort in his interview, famous interview. Google Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort, watch the interview. It's the most hilarious self-own you've ever seen, where he tried to explain to Grant Cardone that when you're selling to someone and they're not interested, they say, I have no interest, I'm not interested, that is a level of interest. And Jordan was like, yeah, they're not interested. And he goes, yeah, but not, that's a level of interest. It's no interest. See, it's on the scale of interest. And Jordan was like, no, I don't see. They're not. Should you go on to the next prospect, or should you keep trying to sell that person? He's like, everyone's a buyer. Everyone's a buyer. He's like, but they don't want your product. And he goes, yeah, but maybe they don't want another product. And he goes, yeah, but they don't want that product. And he's like, and so Grant Cardone was trying to explain this concept. Now, the reason it didn't work is because in Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard endorses a sales technique as given by Les Dane in Big League Sales Closing Techniques, Big League Sales, Surefire Sales Closing Techniques. And there's these sales techniques combined with other information L. Ron Hubbard wrote about sales. And that sales information was specifically for Scientology fundraisers and registrars, where basically when you have the person in front of you, the prospect, and they're saying, no, I can't do it, I don't want it. And the harder they're resisting, when they are at the point in the sales process where they are resisting and saying no, the strongest, that's when they're the closest to closing. Now that mindset works for a Scientology fundraiser. It doesn't work when you're selling fish. And when you see the Jordan Belfort interview, you'll understand the fish reference. This Tampa Brad stuff is wild. This is wild. This guy actually had to turn off all the comments on his YouTube channel because people were inundating his channel with comments about Xenu. I've always said Scientologists being on the internet, not a great formula. Public Scientologists using the internet to try to recruit for Scientology, not a great formula. And that's why I was shocked that the ethics officers would continue to let him put this content up, because all it does is open the doors for people to send him a bunch of information about Scientology that Scientology does not want him going anywhere near. The Xenu data, the body thinking data, the OT3 data, 4, 5, 6, 7, all that kind of stuff. Never mind everything to do with David Miscavige and all the abuse and everything. They let him keep doing it, guys. They let him keep doing it. He talks about Scientologists. You'll notice, this might seem like a weird segue. You notice Scientologists, for all the attention and effort they put on survival and optimum survival and, saving the planet and all this stuff, you notice they have a lot of health problems. And it's weird because in some ways, when they say survival, they don't actually mean like healthy survival of your body or this lifetime stuff. They're just always talking about survival, meaning getting as much people into Scientology as possible, getting them up Scientology's bridge to total freedom as much as possible, because that is what is long-term survival for the Galactic Federation. But Brad's probably gained like 60 pounds since he got into Scientology. And I don't mean that to just fat shame him or fat shame people in general. But for an organization where he talks about survival and optimum this and optimum that, it's like, what about your personal health? And one of the reasons Scientologists struggle with this is because they put everything on the back seat. Everything gets deprioritized compared to giving as much time and money as possible to Scientology. And when you are prioritizing Scientology above all else, most Scientologists just don't have time for healthy life habits. There's no such thing as work-life balance. I mean, oh my God, talking about work-life balance will get you in a lot of trouble. Or Scientology life balance, oh my God, that would get you in so much trouble in Scientology, even talking about something like that. Okay, let's look at some of the starred comments here. Clearwater Chad, I'm a fan of Tampa Brad. Guys, Clearwater Chad came into being as an inspiration and as a satire on Tampa Brad. Clearwater Chad doesn't even live in Clearwater, but Clearwater Chad is the internet alter ego of Tampa Brad. Good to see you, Clearwater Chad. Oh my goodness, Ken's channel, what have you done? Gifted 20 growing up in Scientology channel memberships. That is amazing, Ken. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, I guess a lot of you guys in the live chat are probably going to get hit with some free memberships. So brace yourselves. Unstable datum. Doesn't Brad show his junk on the Just for Fans website asking for a friend? His monogamy cognition is fake AF. Yeah. I'm guessing their Just for Fans doesn't exist anymore, but it really was how they were paying for Scientology. So I'm not sure how they're paying for it now. Brad has a home building business, construction renovation business. Well, he doesn't own it, but he runs it. His stepfather owns it. He promotes it on his channel. So I'm not like doxing the dude. He promotes it on his channel all the time. Home Love Construction. Home Love. Let me tell you, him and his wife were engaging in some home love on Just for Fans, right? He was just helping her find the earrings in that couch, guys. That's all he was doing. She lost her earrings between the couch cushions. He was just helping her find them. Sure, he was from behind, but he was trying to direct her where to find the earrings in between the couch cushions. I am still convinced that that is really what was going on. Okay, Ken's channel says, watching Tampa Brad for us, so we don't, Aaron's watching Tampa Brad for us, so we don't give him clicks. Watching Tampa Brad for us, so we don't give him clicks, is doing the hard work. I don't mind. There's nothing wrong with giving him clicks over there, guys, or subscribing to him. It doesn't matter. But anyway, I get your point. Dave Owens says Tampa Brad never disappoints. Betsy Sue says, I thought Tampa Brad was just helping his wife find her hair clip on those Just for Fans videos. I know. Hair clips, earrings, all sorts of items go missing in between those couch cushions. Winkle 1983 says Tampa Brad is still looking on the couch for those earrings with his wife. He is a hard-working man. Yeah, very much so. And I appreciate the grind. You got to do what you got to do. But it's pretty funny to imagine Scientology. What happened when Scientology found that out? Now, it also isn't without precedent. Earlier this year or earlier last year, Andrew Gold interviewed a woman who's now a current Scientologist, who was a Playboy playmate. And she was recruited into Scientology when Tom Cruise visited her in her dreams to get her into Scientology. I am not kidding. It turns out that Tom Cruise is like the Freddy Krueger of Scientology. He visits people in their dreams, but instead of slashing them and murdering them, he recruits them into Scientology. You can't make this shit up, guys. It's amazing. Ken's channel says, are there little Brads hidden in the couch cushions? We've seen how to find them. Yes. William Peterson says, those poor kids. He's creating more second gens. Yeah, it is a little sad to see kids getting raised in Scientology, born into Scientology, and raised in Scientology. We can only hope that Brad and his wife leave Scientology sooner or later. Valerie Nagy says, Scientology wouldn't approve of an open marriage or swinging, would it? No, in no circumstances. Unless you're David Miscavige, and then apparently it's okay to be married to your wife, send her off to a secret mountain compound, and then start up a new relationship with your new assistant. So apparently it's only okay if you're David Miscavige, but no, they do not approve of that. Or would that apply to only Sea Org members? Yeah, we wouldn't want him to reproduce if anyone should. Yeah, no, it applies to all Scientologists. They are not okay with stuff like that. Unstable datum. Brad's beard is distractingly asymmetrical beneath his lower lip. He needs a patchy beard rundown. I didn't even notice that, but all right. Just do it. Just do it, Zuri. What is that song? I Touch Myself. I know the song, but I'm not going to sing it. Sterling Tompkins is in the chat. It's an early birthday present. Tampa Brad is back. He is indeed. I hope he keeps uploading because I really do love watching his videos. My Mind Went AWOL 2006. Welcome as a new member. Luna's Mom 24 gifted 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you, Luna's Mom. I really appreciate that. JK in Toronto. Welcome as a new member. Big Win Bonanza. Welcome as a new member. All right, guys, that's all on this for now. Much more to come later today. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not,